Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Friends, I have a political message for you today. Are you ready to hear about politics? Probably not. So this season in the United States, if you are here, it is political season. So it's very interesting and everybody's going to vote for somebody, hopefully. So vote your passion. But the most important thing that you can vote for is yourself and your family, your values, and your belief systems this year. So give yourself a vote for time for you, self-care time with your family and friends. Don't just spend your votes watching and listening to everybody else's opinion about what's going on or who you should vote for. You know your values, so vote for you. All right. And now we're going to end this and we're going to come right back with our guest. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show. Today we have special guest Aldwyn Altuny. She is the mass media marketing expert known as the Media Queen. And she is a host, a TV host, a speaker, photojournalist, and author of multiple best-selling books. She has 36 years of media experience, and her PR company, AA Expose Media, is the only one she knows of that guarantees results in the mainstream media. So I'm actually in her program. I love all that she's teaching. She is passionate about inspiring more good news in the mass media to help decrease depression and suicide rates and lift people's spirits. In 2018, Aldwyn founded the Mass Media Tribe Meetup group and a Global Good News Day, which is run annually on August 8th. And I really enjoyed all the good news that was coming through on that. Also an animal activist, she founded Animal Action Events in 2007 and has run 13 annual charity events for raising awareness, appreciation, and respect for all animals. In her spare time, she loves performing in her comedy duo, the Fiddly Gigglers, acting, playing ukulele, long beach walks, and body surfing. So welcome, Aldwyn, our media queen, to the Sheila Mac Show. And it is so nice to have you here today. One of the things, tell us about one of the things that brought you from going from your own rock bottom. Do you want to share a little bit about a rock bottom and how you got back on track this year or in the past?
Yeah, sure. Gosh, there's so many moments I could share with you on that. You know, I always say at the end of every breakdown, there's always a breakthrough. Mm-hmm. And during the darkest times is when there is the most opportunity. And so looking back at my life, I was actually born in Sydney in Australia, and I had European parents. I've actually got Greek, Turkish, and Ukrainian blood, which is quite an amazing mix considering all three countries were at war with each other. And so I call myself the love child. You know, my parents came together and brought love to the nations. And as a child growing up in Sydney, I was actually bullied as a child because of my heritage, because my name was different, the food I took to school was different. So from a very young age, even though I was born in Australia, I never really felt I belonged. And I grew up not knowing who to trust as well. And, you know, after many years of bullying and seeing animal cruelty as a child, and also watching the news every night with my father religiously put the news on every night. And he wouldn't just watch one news channel, he'd watch multiple channels. So generally at least an hour a night, we would be listening to constant negative news, or CNN, as some people say. Constant negative news. And eventually I ended up actually quite depressed as a child. I ended up, you know, internalizing my anger. My dad always said anger is danger. And so for a long time, I couldn't express my anger, and I internalized it, which they say leads to depression, I found out many years later, and never felt I belonged, never knew who to trust. And then at age 16, I saw my boyfriend sleep with my best friend in front of me. And yet again, see, you can't trust anyone. The minute you get too close to anyone, you're going to get hurt, you know. And so that was a real turning point for me at 16. I was actually running away from home at a very early age. I was very rebellious. I got into drugs and alcohol at a very young age, smoking a lot, and just very rebellious. Whatever my dad said to do, I would do the opposite. Running away from home at 13, etc. And then at 15, it got to the point, after years of rebellion, my dad, and actually I broke one of his rules, which was not to stay at anyone else's house, was one of his rules. And even though I didn't stay at a friend's place, this one particular night I came home at age 15 after a Halloween party. I came home at 5 a.m. the next day. So the sun was up. Even though I hadn't stayed over, I was pushing the limits all the time. And my dad this particular night said, "You're not my daughter anymore." He started throwing my things out of the house at age 15. And that's when I moved into this crazy household in Manly with a drummer. His mum was an alcoholic. His sister was dealing heavy drugs. And it was 6 months into that situation that I saw my boyfriend sleep with my best friend at that point. And then I remember just calling my mum in tears saying, "I can't handle this anymore." And she said, "Come home." And so I went home, and even though I was dux of my primary school, which is the top marks of my primary school, and in this environment with this crazy household, we were jamming every night, we're playing music, we're up partying till sunrise every day, I failed all my classes in year 11. And then going back home, what happened is I actually changed my environment. I went from Mossman High School to Forest High School in year 12, changed my environment, worked my butt off, got into a media degree, and then things just took off from there. I worked really hard at uni. I was editor of the uni paper, ended up working in the media for 20 plus years since then in TV, radio and print. And what I loved about the media is it's a great way to actually help make a difference in areas that sometimes we may feel helpless to make a difference in, such as with animal cruelty. You know, whenever I saw animal cruelty, I would think, what can I do? I just felt so helpless and hopeless to do anything about it. And hence I started the world's first Animal Action Day in 2007 and have since done 13 annual events. And we've got the next event coming up on the 10th of October, which is going to be on Zoom. From 7 to 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So we've got that as the next one this year, and we'll be raising money for dogs this year. So every year I've aligned with a different charity with that. And with the work I do with my media business, I'm a stand for truth and good news. And I say truth because I think a lot of people feel at the moment with what's happening with COVID that we're not getting the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help us God, right, with what we're hearing in mainstream media. I think a lot of people realise that there's some hidden agendas at play here and that other things may be going on that we may not be seeing straight away in the mainstream media. So I always suggest to people, question everything you're hearing in the mainstream media. And having been a journalist and working in the media too, I can tell you that definitely there are hidden agendas, and journalists are asked to go out and get stories that are not there necessarily. We're asked to get angles on stories that are not there. So question everything I say, and that's why I started the Good News Day on the 8th of the 8th, 18, and now I've started the Global Good News Challenge in June this year in the height of COVID, and every month we have different challenges. So the next one is coming up from the 1st to the 10th of October. All right. We've got the 10-day October Global Good News Challenge, and that is where people just go out and they do a Facebook Live for 10 days, anytime in that period, and just say your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. And that could be something about you, about someone you know. And it's really helping to lift people's spirits and help decrease depression, anxiety, and suicide rates. I've had 4 friends take their own lives by the age of 45. And worldwide, there's 1 million people roughly that take their own lives every single year across the world. And I believe if we have more positive news and more people also speaking their truth and speaking up for what they believe in, I believe we can reduce those statistics.
Yes, that's so important. And, you know, when you were telling me your story, think about the parents listening in, or perhaps the teens as well, or young adults. Think about parents. If you are listening to this incredible story, talk to your young adults. Don't just give them a rule. Maybe you need to have a heart-to-heart conversation in a more adult way. When your mother took you back in, it was like a different Aldwyn showed up. You showed up as a whole new person, and you started running after your passions and learning about media and doing all these incredible things you've done now in your life. And it took your mom saying, okay, I'm going to take you back. Let me hear you. I'm here for you, and not being in judgment. And I think that can even expand to, if you don't have children, to your parents, if you're caring for your elders, or to your family and friends who may be like doing something completely crazy. And you're like, hey, I can't help you. Just go away. But really, they need love. They need someone to listen and love and help the way you can. That doesn't mean support a bad habit, but just helping others. And a lot of times when you're young, you don't know how to ask for help. And this year, I think everybody, it is okay to ask for help when you need it. You will be surprised at how everybody else shows up when you can ask for the help that you need at that time. So some of the things that you've gone through, we would have been, I just have to say this, we would have been best friends, because I was out there in the crazy world as well for other reasons. And, you know, a homeless from 10 to 13 and a half, and then in foster care, emancipated at 15. And I went from this crazy kid that was out, you know, I had to hang out with the crazy kids because I needed a place to sleep at night. And then turning into this young girl that was an apprentice for a very well-known couple, and learned so much. And I said, hey, you know what? I like this life way better. I'm going for this. And I started doing my talents and enjoying life in a different way. But we could have really gotten into some trouble together.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the thing too about that story is that we think that the grass is often greener on the other side. You know, I didn't appreciate what I had at home. I didn't feel I belonged at home. I didn't feel I belonged at school. I didn't feel I belonged in the world. I felt invisible. I really felt, I in fact had invisible friends, you know, that kind of kept me company, right? But, you know, I was so self-destructive. I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot. In fact, it got to the point where I was coughing up blood. At one point, I was drunk and, you know, smoked so much. And, you know, it was just horrible. I was very self-destructive. I hated myself. I hated the world. I didn't want to be here. And, you know, thank goodness I came out of that. And you know what? Now I have the most extraordinary relationship with my parents. Mm-hmm. They celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary this year. Yeah. My dad's 82. He survived 4 heart attacks, diabetes, and prostate cancer. My mum's 76. She just had some brain cancer cut out of her head, or some skin cancer cut out of her head. And, you know, she's starting to get dementia a little bit. You know, they're the most beautiful people. And it's really hard watching your parents age, you know, watching people you love age. And I think, you know, now more than ever, I think we need to appreciate the people in our lives, because we never know how long any of us are going to be here, right? We just don't know. And life is so precious, and it's about the journey. It's about enjoying the journey. It's not about the destination. And even with COVID, there's certain things we can't control right now. There's a lot we can't control. And, you know, I often say with COVID, it's more about control than it is about health. That's what I believe. I think there's all sorts of things going on. It's going to be very different times when we come out the other end of this. But regardless of all that, we can control how we're going to be about it in every single day, in every moment, with the decisions we make, with how we think about life, with coming into life from gratitude, from a loving space for what we have, because things can always be worse. Things can always be worse. And that's the thing to remember, is often in life we go through and we go, I don't like this, I don't like that. And we focus on the few little things we don't like instead of celebrating all the amazing things and all the amazing freedoms that we do have still, right? There's a lot that we can celebrate. Breathing fresh air, sunshine, friends, connections, and now I'm finding, a lot more people are reaching out to family and friends. And I think people are appreciating each other more during this time because, there's been a lot of division that's been, happening, and governments have been it's been like divide and rule, right? And social distancing and separation, and people want that connection. People need that connection. And I think we yearn for that as human beings. We yearn to connect with other human beings, and we yearn for love. Everyone wants to be loved. We're looking for love, or we're coming from love, and it's either that or it's fear. So it's a choice in any moment. You can choose love or you can choose fear. If you watch a lot of mainstream media and listen to the crap that's on there, you're going to be coming from a very fearful space, and you're going to most likely make yourself sick, right? So it's a choice in every moment. You can buy into that crap, or you can come from a loving space, right? It's my little love part. You can choose love, right? You can choose to do things like the Global Good News Challenge. You can choose to share gratitude with those you love. There's lots we can do. And I do suggest too at this time that people do things that make their hearts sing, whether that's dancing or yoga or meditation or singing or, whatever it is you want to do. I think music and creativity, cooking, creativity is a really fantastic gift that we have as human beings, and I think often we don't express our creativity and our imagination enough. So here is a chance for us to do that now while people may be in lockdown or maybe in shifting situations in their life where maybe they've lost their job or they're starting new work or whatever it is. There's changing times happening, right? So now you can choose to bring on some new habits and some, learn some new skills and, have fun with life and do what makes you happy, because that way you're going to light yourself up and you're going to be able to light up others and inspire others because you love what you do, and that is going to shine through.
Very much so. And, with what you were saying, I think you talked a little bit about love, and what really matters in this time and all times is love and connecting with our family, friends, people in our lives. And, for me, I lost my son in December of 2019. So I was kind of still, I don't know, in a daze when this COVID hit, and it's just like one thing after another. But one of the things that my son showed me, who passed away, was, oh my gosh, you can be such a loving, incredible person. It doesn't matter your age. You can be that. He had a beautiful relationship with a young girl. They were dating for 4 years. And so don't give up on guys, ladies. There are incredible guys out there with beautiful hearts that are just amazing. And I think that's the lesson my son showed me the most, is that he could go anywhere and everybody would love him and be his best friend within a day. It was just, that's who he was. And so live fully. I think the other thing I got out of it was not to give a flying duck. You know what I'm saying? Other people's opinions. Forget the flying ducks. It's like, nope, I don't care. I'm going to do my purpose, and I'm going to be who I am in my core values, life purpose, and vision. And I am going to share my good news and love with other people around the planet as best I can and make a difference. And if somebody doesn't like it, they can just move on. It's all good, because it doesn't matter. And I think, this year, a lot of us have lost loved ones, or we're grieving over one thing or another. And so when we go through these things, it gives us kind of a wake-up call to what really matters most. And love, connection. If you're looking for love, if you start to feel down, at least for me, one of the things that helps me the most is I will literally start calling and texting people. So now, if I text you, I need you. Start calling and texting people, messaging people, how are you? And I'll be like, how can I give love to you? I want to give love. And you know what happens? I receive so much love because I'm in a giving love space, and that makes a difference. And by the end of, an hour or less, I've got so much love, and I'm so happy that they were like, oh, I was feeling bad too, because we're going through that. If you're human, you're probably feeling like, what happened to our world? And, everything's so crazy. And so we need to give each other even more love and check in. those check-ins. And if you're feeling down and you start checking in on others, you'll see they might be in the same place, but you lift each other up. And I love that good news challenge you're going to do again. I've got to get on there this time and also be involved. And so how do people join the good news challenge that's going to happen in October?
Yeah, thank you, Sheila. We've got a Facebook page called Global Good News Challenge, and pinned to the top of the page is all the details. It's absolutely free to be involved, and you just do a Facebook Live every single day. There's different challenges every month, right? So we started in June with a 7, 14, and 21-day challenge. In July, we did a 5-day challenge. In August, an 8-day challenge. September, we did a 9-day challenge, and now we have the 10-day challenge.
All right.
So every day, for 10 days, I've just got a tickle in the throat. Oh, excuse me.
Take a drink.
Oh, not COVID, it's okay. And we're all safe. We're socially distancing here, right? Physically distancing.
Yes.
So what you do is you just do a Facebook Live every day for 10 days. Start anytime between the 1st and the 10th of October for the next one. And you just share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. And you can either do it on your profile or do it in the Loving Life group, and just hashtag Global Good News Challenge. And it's amazing just sharing what you're grateful for. It's amazing how it lifts your energy and how it lifts other people's energy. I love watching the Global Good News Challenges by other people. It just makes my heart sing. It gives me a lot of joy to hear what people are grateful for. And most people do it in about 3 minutes. It really doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just you sharing from the heart, sharing gratitude, lifting the energy around you, lifting your own energy. And it's amazing how it can just shift the whole trajectory of your day by sharing gratitude. And that's really what it's about. It's about lifting the energy, lifting your energy. It has to start with you. You've got to fill your own cup up first and help others with the overflow, right? So it starts with you. Be the change you want to see in the world, as Gandhi said, right?
Yes.
Be the change. If you want more good news out there, then be a good news crusader. Join the Global Good News Challenge, and you can be part of the solution here, right? And my goal is with this is to have about 1,000 people do the Global Good News Challenge by the 8th of the 8th next year, by our 4th Good News Day. And we've had about 20 or 30 people so far do the Good News Challenge, which is awesome, and I'd love to see a lot more people do it. So if you're up for it, the 10-day challenge starting anytime between the 1st and 10th of October, just go to the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Pinned to the top is all the details. Now, if people aren't confident doing Facebook Lives, there is an extra coaching option that they can go to there if they want to do that. Otherwise, if you're confident just getting out and doing your thing, then I suggest you do that and just share of yourself, because that's when people really connect with you. You know, where the nerves come into play when people are doing videos, it's when they're worried about how they're looking or how they're coming across. Whereas when you enter from a place of service, how can I be of service, and trusting that the right words will come out, you know, that's when there's no nerves there, and when you're speaking your truth, and it doesn't matter what other people think. As you say, Sheila, it doesn't matter. You know, anyone who's anyone out there as far as known as celebrities, or, you know, you've got to toughen yourself to criticism. You can't let the bastards get you down, right? You can't. And there's always going to be people who are going to try and pull you down as you step up. And it's all a test. It's a test to see how serious you are about speaking your truth and about being on your path. It's all a test. So are you going to be up for the test, or are you going to just play it safe and, you know, live below the line and kind of just cruise through life, you know, not making the real difference that you want to make here? Because a lot of people, the biggest regret for people often is that they didn't do what they wanted to do in their life when they're on their deathbed, right? And, you know, you've got a choice right now. You know, you're alive. It's never too late to do something you love. It's never too late. So whatever it is you want to do it. Lift the energy. If you're not happy about something, do something about it. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. You know, you can start something online so easily nowadays, right? It doesn't take long to get, you know, kickstart a whole movement, you know. And that's really what the Good News Challenge is about, Global Good News Challenge. And it's just wonderful. It's just, I feel like I've birthed a baby with this event. It's so great.
I love it. And, you know, I think it's really interesting. I remember being this young girl. I ended up having my first child very young, getting married young, the whole 9 yards. And I had friends that were still in high school, late high school. And, you know, they were like working little part-time jobs at the local stores. And I'd walk in and it'd be like, oh, you're too fat. Well, I was pregnant. And, oh, you're too poor. Well, I'm starting out. You're still living with your parents, you know, and it was always, I was this or that. Then I started, you know, a career. Then I was too rich. Then I was too successful. And I realized no matter what I did, I could never please these people. And at some point, years later, now this is really wild, years later, I mean, they were still working at the store. And I was like, okay. And I never, ever, this is the funny thing. I never got angry. I never put them in their place, although I obviously could have at any time. I just, you know, let them do their thing. And I would go to my car and I'd be like, wow, that kind of, you know, that was bad, or that made me feel sad, especially when I was young. But then I realized it was about them. It had nothing to do with me. Later, I'm in a checkout line and this lady says, don't you remember me? I've been working here since high school. And we went to school together years ago. And I was like, oh yeah. And I thought about all the things she used to do. And she's like, I just want to apologize for all that stupid stuff I did here. You've done all these things that you're helping people, and you never gave me any, you know, crap for that. They might believe that. and you never gave me anything, you know, you never gave me any trouble with what we said. And wow. And so, and then I actually, you know, helped out and we became friends at a different level. So people are at different places in their journey, and they may be judging because that's what everybody does, you know, think young girls, especially, that happens. They may be in that space. And if you're a young person listening into this and you're in a space where you're moving up and moving on, that's okay if they're going to judge you, because later, you know, later it's not even going to matter. All that is just going to be water under the bridge. It's not going to matter at all. So just stay focused on what you need to do and listen to it's kind of like your guidance, your inner guidance system, your heart leading you. If you're like, I need to sing, I need to dance, I need to go learn computers, whatever it is that's your passion, doesn't matter what people say, just go live your passion and forget about the raving fans. The more you have success, you're going to have more raving fans. And that's what they are. I mean, they know more about what you're doing in your life, when you had breakfast or whatever you're doing, and who you talked to last. And you're like, really? I don't even remember that. If they lived their own life. So as you're living your life and you're living your truth, at some point you leave that, but you lead them to say, hey, you know what? Put down the mask. This year, we're forced to wear these masks. Some people believe them, some people don't, whatever. I honor the rule when I have to. I don't when I'm not in a place that it's forced. But it's telling us, to me, the universe is saying, hey, you know what? Take the mask off. I'm going to make you wear a mask until you realize that all these masks, all this pleasing everybody else, all this, you have to be this or that, all of those masks are so ugly. So take them off. Be real and share your talents and truth. Share the good news like you're doing, Aldwyn, and that's going to make a huge difference. Now, one of the things that you had shared with me another time is how you at one point you were super depressed, almost suicidal. And how did you make that shift? Was there a moment, or what happened with that in your life?
Well, there were a few moments. I mean, even, you know, like I've had depression over the years, right? And sometimes I just go into these really dark places and I can't even really describe it. You know, I've done so much personal development work on myself now. And even so, there's still times when I get really, really down and I get really, really sad about the state of the world. And I get angry about certain things, right? And there's times I go into these really dark places. And actually, even in February this year, you know, I got back from Nemea. I got tonsillitis in Nemea from a trip over there where I was invited to speak at a retreat in Nemea in New Caledonia, and got tonsillitis. I was in bed for 3 days and could barely speak. I was just miserable. And after coming back to Australia, I was still in bed for a few more days, and a girlfriend said, look, you really need to get to the hospital. This is really not good. I went to hospital. They put me on the antibiotic drip, right? They put me on penicillin. Now, 70% of people apparently are allergic to penicillin. And I was one of them, because on the second penicillin injection that they gave me, my lips started to swell up. Right, literally, and I started to get itchy, and next thing I know, I've got these 3 cold sores all around my mouth, right, which I got in hospital, right? You go to hospital to get better. I went in there and I got worse, right? This was just in February this year, and I remember coming home and I was in bed nearly every day. I was in bed. I just felt miserable. I thought, I can't show my face to anyone. It was just horrible. And I would say I was in bed for probably 3 weeks. I was probably sleeping like 20 hours a day. I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to see anyone. And then COVID hit, right? COVID hit. And I remember when COVID hit, I felt to myself, something is not right here. I just, in my gut, I had this, and it was like a prompting. I felt like there was a prompting that I need to help wake people up to the truth. I need to help people speak their truth. I need to help inspire people, get out there with their message, etc. Right? Yeah. However, before this, in between this depression time and COVID, I rang a girlfriend, right? It was like dial a friend, right? Dial a friend. I was miserable. And I actually dialed Tracy Corman, who's in the Fiddly Gigglers duo with me. We do the comedy duo. We set up the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club together. And I said, oh, Tracy, I just feel miserable. I can't go out in public like this. I just feel awful. You should see my face. It's cold. And they just weren't going away. And in fact, you could even still see, there's still even a little mark now, all these months later, you can still see some evidence of some cold sores on my face. And she said, Aldwyn, have you been to the beach? And I said, actually, no, Tracy, I haven't been to the beach, because she knows that I love the beach, right? And I said, what a great idea. I'm going to go to the beach, right? So I went and I thought, well, no one has to really see me at the beach, right? I can go by myself and I can get into the ocean. So what I did is I started a healing journey, and every single day I was going to the beach. And also what I started to do was I went back to yoga, and every single day I was going to yoga. And after about a week of everyday swims and everyday yoga, I started to bring myself back to normality again. I started to heal myself, and that's when the COVID hit, right? So I guess the question you asked there is, when I went through a really dark period and how I came out of it, was I self-nurtured. I did something I loved that helped to bring me back to life. Because every time I hop in the ocean, every time I get into that salt water, for me, it's such an amazing cleansing experience. Mm-hmm. And there's a practice that I do when I go under the waves. Every time I go under a wave, I think about something I'm grateful for. And so by the time I come out of the ocean, I just feel amazing. I'm so grateful for everything in my life, for my health, for my family, for my, people think, oh, I don't know what I'm grateful for. Well, there's so much you can be grateful. Grateful you have hair, grateful, grateful you have feet, grateful, like just having a fully functioning human body has got to be worth at least $1 billion, right? There's so much we can be grateful for. And so I started that healing journey. Then COVID hit, and I thought, right, that's it. I've got to do something. And I just felt a prompting. I started to do webinars online, which you came to one of them, how to gain free publicity during COVID. And I relaunched my mass media mastery training program. And now we've got some phenomenal people in the program, including yourself. And I'm so proud of you, Sheila, with all the media you've been getting. You're unbelievable.
Thank you. Yes, I had 30 different media pieces, articles, and this and that come out this last month since my book came out. So it's been wonderful learning about how to get yourself in the media and get your message out there. So it's been very helpful.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And, part of that process too, I guess, in creating an online program or a new online program, because I had a previous version of the Mass Media Mastery program, but I relaunched with new IP models, intellectual property models. I've got my awesome steps to gaining free publicity, my 7 awesome steps, and we're doing social media training as well. So part of that process, it's being creative, right? And it's expressing what you're good at. And everyone has some genius in something, right? Often we're too close to our genius to see what the genius is. But actually packaging up that genius in a way that you can support others, is a really, heart fulfilling thing to do. And, there's no greater purpose, they say, than being of service, right? No greater purpose than being of service. So if you can find a way to serve more people, it's not about the money. Yes, you will attract more money to yourself, but it's about doing what makes your heart sing, following your passions, helping to lift others up. You can do that with what you do. It's a choice. As I say, it's a choice. You can be positive or negative in any moment. You can come from fear or you can come from love. It's actually very, very simple. People just love to complicate life, right? They watch a lot of dramas. They think life has to be full of dramas. It does not have to be full of dramas, right? We're all going to have our ups and downs on the roller coaster ride of life, right? That's what I call it. It's like a roller coaster ride. You just got to strap yourself in and just hang on for the ride and enjoy every moment, savor every moment, because in the lowest times, that's when the biggest breakthroughs are going to come. And if you can ride that wave and not fall off that wave like the million people that kill themselves every year that fall off the roller coaster, right? You just hang in there and trust that at the end of every breakdown, there's going to be a breakthrough, and just hang in there for the learning, because there's always learnings. The biggest learnings come through the lowest periods in life. So that's part of that was part of how I've pivoted, I guess, during COVID, and I have felt like it's been a prompting. And the other thing to remember too, and you talked about this before, don't worry about what other people think, because the thing is that hurt people, and the more you step up in life with your message, with your service, with whatever it is you're doing, you're going to have more people that love you and more people that hate you. I mean, let's just look at Donald Trump as a perfect example, right? Yeah. Donald Trump, there's people that love Donald Trump and there's people that hate Donald Trump, right? Just as one example, right? So you've got to expect that, and it doesn't matter. Look at Donald Trump. He doesn't care, right? He's just doing his thing. He's speaking his truth. He doesn't care what people think. He's on his mission. He's doing his thing. It doesn't matter. You know?
We need to stop caring. Stop giving the flying duck. It's just not worth it. They're not worth it at all. If you're living in your truth and aligned with your highest sense of good and right on this planet, you will attract healthy people, and you will be able to help others, even those that at some point judged you, and you can just be happy in your life. It's not worth your time to worry about all these other people's opinions. They have opinions because they're not living their own life. There's like, how are they looking at your social media and everything you're doing so many hours that how could they actually be living their own life? It's not possible. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Thank you for knowing more about me than I do. That's awesome. Now go live your life and show me. It's funny. One of the funny things I say sometimes is I'll tell somebody, that's judging harshly. I'll say, especially when I was younger, they'd be like, oh, you're this and that. When I was, depending on who it was, like a friend, let's say. And I'd say, you know what, here, wear a pair of my shoes. Because a lot of times people don't know what's really going on. And so like if you're out there and you think, oh, that person, this or that, or look, she's not being friendly today, or whatever it is, it could be they're dealing with something you don't even know about. And unless we're walking in their shoes, especially this year, we don't know what's causing people are upset. And sometimes they just go off on you for no reason at all. I had my daughter had a tax lady, and she paid for her taxes to be done. And the person, the IRS said, hey, you made a mistake. I mean, like, she's a young girl. She worked a little job. It's nothing major. She didn't owe anything. They owe her money, but they didn't do a form right. And so she called up and she said, hey, I need help with this form. I'm getting this letter from the government. And they said, well, fix it yourself. That's your damn problem. And they gusted her. And it was like, and she was like, what? And it was right when the virus, when the lockdowns hit. And I said, oh shit, honey, that's coming from all this fear, and it has nothing to do with you. And I called the next day and talked to the manager there and said, hey, can we get help with this? Because this is kind of what happened. And, but it's almost like giving people a little bit more space. And when they're like, when you were a teen and you were stressed out and acting out, what did you need most? You needed your mom to give you love. So it's really hard to give somebody love when they're acting out. It's like, oh my gosh, I just want to slap you right now. But I want to wake you up maybe because I love you. But, coming from a space of understanding and love and not in judgment is going to really help. Because people are going through things they've never experienced this year from one situation or another. They may have just lost a loved one. They may have had to move or can't pay their bills because of some of the businesses have to be closed depending on where you live, and they've gone out of business. And so I think if we just show compassion and love and be not in judgment of others and not in judgment of ourselves. So think about that for a minute. This year has been really hard. And it could be that we're having a bad hair day. I don't know, but a bad whatever day because of all this other stuff. And maybe hard on ourselves. We might be like, oh man, COVID-20 happened or whatever. And it's like, you know, you got to love yourself through that. Yes, you might have to make some adjustments or whatever, but if you give yourself the love and respect that you give other people in your life, that's going to show up. Think about, as a parent, as a business leader, as somebody caring for their elderly parents, how you show up in that room changes the energy of the room. And so everybody else feels it. I mean, you could have somebody come in with some negative energy. You might not even know them, and everybody reacts. And you're like, whoa, what's up with that? They may not even speak yet, and you'll already be like, oh my gosh, that energy. And you can be that positive energy. It doesn't matter if you're the business leader, the owner of the company, or if you are an intern student working for free. How you show up, that energy is going to shift everything. And I think the other thing for this COVID, you know, this pandemic world that we're in right now is how many times, now let's all be honest, and I caught myself, this is just like a couple weeks ago, I realized, wait a minute, how many times have I kind of cursed 2020? I've been like, oh, this year, and I thought about it, and we joke about it, but in the same respect, think about Dr. Emoto and the study of water. They scientifically wrote words on water, and they could see the shift in the molecular structure of the water. So I just think about this, and I thought, wait a minute, I get chills right now. What kind of energy are we putting on 2020? That keep, like, what's next? And how many people said that? So let's do more good news, like our media queen has the good news channel, and share more good news and give blessings to the rest of this 2020. And so we can go into 2021 with goodness. We need to put that energy into this year and into our families, friends, everybody around us. And that is going to make, I believe, if scientifically it changes the structure of water, let's change the structure of the rest of this year. Let's try it. I'm ready for that.
And considering we're 70% water, right? What is it doing to your own body every time you have a negative thought, right? Or every time that you put yourself down, or every time you look in the mirror and say, oh, there's a new line on my face, or oh my goodness, I'm going gray, or whatever, right? Like every time you have a negative thought, you're actually affecting your molecular structure of your body. My girlfriend Tracy said to me, Aldwyn, the love you have there for others is also there for you. Right? That self-love, having that self-love, filling your own cup up so that you can lift the energy of others around you. It's very, very important. And to have that kind of self-awareness, not in an arrogant, egotistical way. It's a sense of self. It's a sense of, I'm here for a reason. And I do believe we're all here for a reason. You're 1 in a billion just by being born. You beat about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line, right? Depending how excited your parents were in that moment, right? It's either 400 million to 1.2 billion, right? So I say you're 1 in a billion swimmers that you beat to get to the finish line just by being born, right? You are 1 in a billion. And I do believe we're all here for a reason. And whoever's watching this right now, you are here for a reason. There's a reason that we attract the people that we attract into our lives. Out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, there's a reason that we attract. I do believe in the law of attraction. We attract what we need to learn. We attract what we think about, what we think about, we bring about, right? Yes. That's it. The whole quantum field, we only tap into 10% of our mind or our intelligence, the unconscious, superconscious. There's 90% out there. It's kind of like the magnet, right? You see, the force between a magnet and metal, that come together. There's definitely a force there. We don't see it. You can't see that force, but it's there, right? There is a force there that is so incredibly powerful. Some people will tap into that. and they will be led by that and guided by that, and call it God or, spirit or universal consciousness or whatever you want to call it. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about there is an infinite energy here. There is a source power that we all have, I believe, within us, all around us, and it's a matter of whether we're going to tap into that or not. And I believe access to that is by coming from a loving space. Come from love, come from gratitude, center yourself, breathe deeply from the diaphragm, meditate. There's so much we can do to access that universal consciousness and our, to feed ourselves, to feed, to fill our own cup. Meditation's something I've been doing a lot of this year, and I just love it. I just got back from a 1-week retreat on the Sunshine Coast in a place called Diamond Valley. It was absolutely magical. We had kookaburras, beautiful organic food, raw food, and, in the hills. And one day we went for a 12-kilometre walk through, it was called the Great Walk, the Condalilla Falls in Sunshine Coast. It was absolutely magical. And you know what? There are so many wow moments when you get into nature. When you get into the forest, when you appreciate the birds and the animals around us, and, when you appreciate other human beings, when you appreciate yourself, there is so much magic in that. And it's so simple. Mm-hmm. Don't overcomplicate things. Get into gratitude and seek guidance. Ask for guidance if you don't know what your purpose is, if you don't know why you're here. A great place to start is to do what you love. Do more of what you love, because when you're doing what you love, time bends. Right? Time becomes, you get in the zone, you get in the flow, you let go, you let God, get in flow, let go, let flow, right? And I think that's the trick to life. I think you do as much of that as you can. Do what makes your heart sing, and lift your own energy first so that you can lift others around you. And smile. Smiling is a universal language, right? It's not hard to smile. It's a choice. Every day there's so much we can be grateful for. And, I am so grateful for you, Sheila. I think you're extraordinary. So grateful for you and what you've achieved. You're amazing. And I can't wait to have you along as a guest speaker at one of our events, the Mass Media Tribe events coming up. So we'll stay tuned, those watching this, or you'll be one of our guest speakers. We actually have our next event. We've got the Mass Media Tribe event on tonight online.
Okay.
7 till 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so in about 10 hours from now, which that will probably be early morning for you there, Sheila, in LA.
2 a.m., I think, or something like that. So sometimes I am up at some odd hours, which is crazy, but it's because I'm living my passion and enjoying everything I do. It's like I'm having so much fun, and it's just, it makes all the difference, what we focus on, what we do, it really does. So, you were talking about manifesting and how I ran into the media queen. We were friends for many years. I think we may have met at a Tony Robbins event sometime in our past. And, you get to know each other a little bit and have lunch with a big group. And so we became friends in social media. And then it was in the middle of the night. I was working hard to get my book ready for being published. It didn't make bestseller. And, I was like, what I need to do is figure out all this media stuff. I don't know anything about it. And so I literally sent that message out, and there pops up your new program. After you had gone through your ups and downs, there you are. And I'm like, it was like make a wish and then look, and there it is. And I said, well, I don't even know anything about you except for we met a long time ago, probably 10, 12 years ago. And so this sounds like exactly what I was asking for. So be open to stepping out of your comfort zone. I had to be up a little bit late in the middle of the night sometimes for some of the classes. And I just knew that popped up right at the moment that I asked. And so be willing to do the work of showing up as often as you can and watching and doing the lessons when you do a program, I think. And that's going to make all the difference. Just be willing. In my Boots formula, it's about being who are you being and all you're doing. Who do you need to be in this situation? It's, your orientation, where you are, where you want to go. I wanted to get my book to a bestseller status. It's about order of operations. What do I need to do first, second, and third? Okay, I had to reorder my time in order to be up in the middle of the night. but it was worth it. And then T is thinking, mindset, which obviously we talked a lot about mindset and everything that happened, getting out of a tough situation. Mindset is huge. And then stepping into it. And that was me stepping up and saying, okay, I'm going to trust, and I'm going to put I'm going to invest in myself and this program and show up and learn. And so that makes all the difference in how you get in results. So could you share again, we're coming to the end of the hour, could you share again about how people can reach you and maybe get involved with the media program?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I'll share that. I just want to add to what you were just saying then. I think absolutely, keep showing up, and also, be willing to ask for what you want. You asked for what you wanted, Sheila. You said, I want help with my media, and there we go. It showed up.
Yes.
Ask for what you want, and trust that the signs will come, right? Yes. There's also trusting there, right? So ask, whether you pray for it or however you ask, ask, put it out to the universe, even your thoughts, right? In the quantum field, every thought you have goes into the quantum field. So, think it, feel it, and see it. If you want something, you can make it happen. We are incredibly powerful as human beings, and we can make anything happen. And, I get so much joy when I see my clients in the media, Sheila, and I'm just so proud of you with all the media that you've been getting and stepping up with your message. And, one of the biggest things that comes up for people is fear. People have fear about how we're going to come across. What if the journalist asks us some hard questions, all this kind of thing. And the thing is that it doesn't matter what anyone asks you. You just speak your truth, and you cannot go wrong, right? You speak your truth, you're on the right path. So if people want to connect, we've actually got an amazing event tonight. As I said, the Mass Media Tribe Meetup is online now on Zoom. I've been doing them all for free online since COVID. And we have guest speakers every 2 to 3 weeks. We've got results guy Andrew Komenos coming on tonight talking about how to build a multi-six-figure business. And we have giveaways at the end of that. So anyone's more than welcome to hop on that. And to find that, you just go to Mass Media Tribe on Facebook or Meetup. Another great thing to do is to follow me on Eventbrite. If you just look up Aldwyn Altuny on Eventbrite and follow me, you'll get all the updates of our upcoming events. So I regularly run workshops on how to gain $1 million worth of free publicity. So you can hop on those as well. And we've got the Global Good News Challenge, of course. Check out the Facebook page, Global Good News Challenge. Pinned to the top is all the details to get involved in that, starting on the 1st of October, wherever you are in the world. And, of course, Animal Action Events. We've got a Facebook page as well, Animal Action Events, for the Animal Action Night, the annual event that we do every year. And this year we're going to be raising money for the dogs, for a dog shelter. And we'll have some performers and singers, and that's from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on the 10th of October. And that is in line with World Animal Week as well. So it's all about raising awareness, appreciation and respect for animals. And as we have an appreciation for animals and for the environment, we also get a whole brand new appreciation for life and for ourselves and for our place in life and for what we can achieve and do. And I think more than anything, Sheila, I think we really, it's important that we have fun. We have fun on this journey of life, on this roller coaster of life. Enjoy every single moment. And when you're challenged, just when you're challenged, just go, oh, that's interesting. This is how that's interesting. That's an interesting challenge. What's the learning in this, I wonder, right? Because often challenges happen, and if you get into the drama of the challenge in the moment, you're not seeing the gifts that are in that challenge, right? Sometimes you need to step back from things to actually get an appreciation of, oh, I wonder why this challenge has come my way, right? Because we will keep attracting the same kinds of challenges until we get whatever the lesson is. And that's why we attract the same kinds of relationships generally until we shift, the same kinds of situations often again and again until we get whatever the lesson is and move through that. So yeah, please connect with me anywhere on social media. I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. I've got a YouTube channel, Media Queen TV. Also my website, aaxpose.com as well. Lots of, if you just Google Aldwyn Altuny, you'll find me all over the mass media, and I'd love to connect with you. And if anyone has any questions specifically about their media or wants to have a chat with me, then please private message me on Facebook. And love to connect with you and to help you share your truth and make the difference that you're here to make in the world.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being a special guest on the show. And I can't wait to be on the Good News Challenge and see more people come out in the media and share their message with your programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you. Thanks for watching.
Yes.
Share a lot. Share the love. If you like what you've seen, share the love, comment. Love to hear from you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest, where we share real situations with real solutions to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack. I'm giving you some homework. Grab a copy of my bestseller, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, to learn the formula to go from rock bottom and back into action in any situation. If you have a burning question for the show, send it in to www.dearsheila.com. Tune in again Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific Time and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, right here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. Grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com.